Oh, there you go.
Hey, how are you doing? And let me apologize for just getting to you. I thought it was important. We started a little late with Bill, and I thought it was important to give each candidate kind of equal time. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to make sure they each got their time, and the panel was able to ask them a wealth of questions, which I believe we did. But real quick, since we only have a few minutes left, tell us who
Yeah.
you are.
Well,
Um,
well, we could
oh,
rock
actually,
out.
we can rock out.
We could do.
We're not on the
We're not in the studio anymore,
we're not
AJ.
in the studio no more, so we can talk. We can just extend it. Yeah, we don't have the time limitation of we got to get off in 10 minutes. But yes, introduce yourself to the people. Who are you?
Well, hi, Black Sister. I'm Magazine. I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for allowing me to have these few minutes. I'm MaryAnn Carr, and I'm running as the first vice chair for the Westchester County Democratic Committee. I'm running on the ticket with Bill Seratore, and proud to be on that ticket with Bill. So, yeah, and I'm currently serving as a deputy supervisor in the town of Bedford. I was elected twice there as a town councilwoman. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm a mother of a 22-year-old daughter who is the pride of my life. And so that's who I am.
Absolutely. And it's a pleasure meeting you for the first time. I tried to get to know all of our elected officials of color, and there's a lot of it's a big county, so I've not got to meet all of you. This is my first time meeting you. So we talked briefly. I know you know Reggie Lafayette held that position for some years, and a lot of people were concerned that him stepping down would be the lack of African American leadership in that type of position. And you decided to team up on a ticket with Bill. Why is that, and what do you feel that he would do, for the communities of color?
That's a great question. Thanks, AJ, because obviously, being an African American woman, I know how underrepresented we are in all spectrums, from political offices to corporate to education, all across the board. We are totally underrepresented, people of Black and brown. And so, but I can truly say that Bill is a sincere, good person. I've worked with him for a number of years. He's, neighboring town. He's the chair of Mount Kisco. And I also might add, I am the chair of the Bedford Democratic Committee. So,
okay.
So we've had to work hand in hand together to get candidates elected. And, one of those candidates where it was just a really steep climb was Peter Harcum, who was running against, a very, very entrenched Republican. And, Bill was just probably, one of the forefront leaders in helping Peter, acquire some space, to use as a headquarters site. It was a monumental task. It required all hands on deck, but it also required some leadership. And, Bill has always proven that, if there's an ask, he's going to just, be resourceful and try to work with and collaborate and try to find a solution. And that's who he is. And so that's why I joined with him, because I know who he is. I've worked with him before. And I see him as a person with great integrity and someone who really is truly devoted to making sure that there is really a diverse team that is at the table with him, not just in name only, but has a voice, and he's willing to listen. He never takes things as a personal attack. He's open to criticism. He's open to learning, and readjusting where he needs to readjust in case there's, a better strategy or a better plan than what he has already had in his mind. So it makes a difference with being able to collaborate and being able to have someone who you can just really feel like they have the interests of the public and the committee, and that they make sure that everybody that's sitting there with him is important, not just him as a leader.
as an African American woman and as um, a party, a city committee chair, person of color, what would you like to see? What do you think where we need to go as far as the county Democrats, as far as people of color, as far as maybe enhancing the base, like reaching out to those who are disenfranchised, those who, those. My criticism of the Democrats is they cater to the ones that's already registered. They don't go out to all of those unregistered voters, and they don't try to expand the base. And I see that a lot in the communities of color throughout Westchester.
That's correct. We definitely have a lot of work to do in the community of color, and especially with our young people. I think that for the most part, we just, we stop trying to connect with people. We look at our own little individual, committees. And the one thing that I can say is that whenever there's something going on that has to do with, trying to reach our young people, trying to bring more people into this process and educating them about the process and getting them engaged, I'm usually there. I'm always trying to work to make sure that, people of color understand that the power of their vote, can change the way things are legislated for them and about them. And so I'm just committed to doing that. And this, I know what it feels like to be disenfranchised. I'm a Black woman. My parents were disenfranchised, so I know what it feels like to be undermined, to be marginalized. So I make it a priority to go out and reach out to young people, people of color particularly, to let them know that your voice, your vote is the surest way to changing policy that affects you.
Now, I was we had a race in Mount Vernon, and it was a Democratic primary and for mayor, and one of the candidates that lost was also endorsed by the Republican Party. And I end up having these really interesting conversations when you look at the state of, and I'm just talking exclusively about Mount Vernon as an example. When you look at the state of Mount Vernon, it's been Black leadership and it's been Democratic rule. The fact that Mount Vernon was in the state that it was in had nothing to do with the Republicans. You know what I'm saying? Like we throw stuff on, but we have failed our people, and the Democrats as a whole, I see, have taken the, especially African American vote, but probably the Latino vote too. I speak more.
Both, definitely the Latino vote.
Right. Taking them for granted. But then again, a lot of our people do that row A all the way. So, if you're going to vote for me anyway, why do I have to pay attention to what you need and what you want? How do we rectify that? Catering to why Black people should stay Democrat.
Well,
why should Black people support Democrats?
I totally. The one thing that we should not do is definitely not take anyone for granted, and we definitely should not take the Black and brown vote for granted. I know in this national election, the Black and brown vote will be very, very important, and probably will be the vote that will decide the next presidency. So the one thing that you have to always do is communicate such that they understand, be able to connect. If you can't connect with the person, you can't engage with them, then you're not going to be able to get their attention and have them listen to you. So I just feel like someone who's worked in various settings among various different social, economic, racial, and ethnicity, with people with different cultures and ethnicities, someone who's worked in corporate all of my professional life. I've been in different settings. I know what it means to be able to connect with the person. And if you can't connect and they don't trust you, then they're not going to listen to you, because they feel like, hey, you're just another person there to give them some rhetoric, and you need the vote. And you need their vote. So it's really about gaining that respect and trust, and having them see the sincerity in you, to let them know that their voice truly does matter. If you, the people who decide how much, um, say, unemployment or how much affordable housing that will be available, these are your vote. When we talk about the judges, the reason Trayvon Martin didn't get his due, the reason some of these other victims that fell to police brutality didn't get their just due, it's because the people who were on the bench were not voted on by African Americans or people of color. So that's the reason you have the outcome that you have. So when you break it down and bring it home to them, your hope and expectation is that they understand the vote from the local all the way up matters. It does make a difference, and don't let anyone convince you that it doesn't.
And now, I don't know if you know, so we originally had planned this, thanks to Lorraine who put it together, this candidate forum. And then Jen has made a suggestion about bringing you on. I've been asking you questions because I wanted each candidate to have equal time. Most of the questions I'm asking you is not necessarily about either candidate, you know what I'm saying? But as an
Sure.
African-American woman, we're Black Westchester, about Black issues that the county is facing. And I've been picking my questions specifically to do that, so that I still am I'm not playing favorite to either candidate, because it's like two of y'all to that one, you know what I mean? But you can
No,
speak
sure.
you can speak to what the other two, and I'm not saying white privilege, but just because of experience, you can speak to some things that they can't, that are issues in our community for firsthand,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Lorraine, do you have any questions that are not about either candidate, but about Black and brown lives in Westchester and where the party goes?
Yeah. Wait, I can't see because I got.
Oh, the question is, it'll go in a minute. I'm sorry.
Okay. How can you help me change the narrative? Okay. I am tired of hearing, who cares? Spanish people don't vote. How do we fix that? I don't know how. I tried. How do we? I know it's the party, and I know it's the local party. But how could myself, like, for example, as a district leader, how would you, and a former elected official, I mean, I know about it, but I want you to help me tell the audience that it's not informed about the party politics, that how important it is to actually get out there and vote, like you said. But how do we change these elected officials from saying they don't matter, they don't vote? Because I hear it all the time.
You do. There is some narrative around, the fact that they don't feel like the Black and brown people come out to vote, and that is, we know that to be true. We certainly have seen that play out on the local and national level, but I really think that they're paying more attention this time around, because I think that what we've seen the last 4 years at the national level in the Black Lives Matter movement, those are young people out there leading this whole movement, this whole revolution that's taking place. And if anyone thinks that it's not making a difference, you need to think about the Aunt Jemima label coming off the syrup. You need to think about Kamala Harris being named VP candidate. All of these things were directly related to that movement. I mean, we had candidates that were well qualified, from a vast, diverse background. And any one of those women would have made a very, very good vice president for sure. But the Black Lives Matter movement made them say, hey, you cannot look past or over the Black qualified women that are up there. You saw Black mayors come out when and had to speak and talk about, you know, governing their town and also making some really hard decisions about COVID, when at our national level we had no leadership going on, and they were trying to keep their people safe. So to answer your question, I think that the Black and brown people are paying much more attention this time around. And for anyone who thinks that their vote doesn't matter or take them for granted, I think they're highly mistaken, because we can't afford to lose any votes at this particular time. On the local election, on the state level, on the national level, every single vote matters. And we need to make sure that every single person that's registered, that's eligible, 18 and eligible to vote, that they are registered and they do get out and vote. Because if you don't want a repeat of what we're seeing, because we know there's a base out there that still supports the person who's at, you know, that lives at 40.
And they're gonna come out, yeah, they're gonna come out.
Exactly. So I would encourage every single person, Black, white, Latino, Asian, every single person needs to get out and exercise their right to vote. It is the only way we really correct the mistakes that have been done over the last 4 years, the travesty, really. I mean, people, look how many people we've lost in the pandemic due to lack of leadership. So I think that we have an obligation to get out there at every opportunity and encourage the Latino votes, the Black votes, you know, white votes, you know, people of all genders, sexualities, every single person there. You know, I come from a place where people, I mean, I know people who literally died for me to have this right to be able to vote. I'm not talking about reading about someone. I know people who would go to the registration office to register to vote and would be turned away. And so I take it very personally. I take it very seriously. And it's, if you think that this is the this is the time where you're going to sit it out, then I think that you are going to be highly regretting that decision, because no one else can do it for you. This is something that rests within your power to do.
Yeah.
Damon, any questions about
no.
as far as the county and the, you know?
She covered a lot. So thank you very much.
Is there anything I did not ask you that you want people to know, either about you, the importance of this race, or any message that you want to get out there while we have your attention, while we have you?
Sure. So I just like to you know, make sure that everyone knows that, you know, you've asked the question several times about you know, grooming leadership, Black leadership. And I think we all have a responsibility to sort of make sure that all voices are heard, and make sure that Blacks have a seat at the table, Latinos have a seat at the table, you know, gays and lesbians have a seat at the table. So it's, you know, inclusiveness means that there's room at the table for every single person. And it's, I always want to be judged by the content of my character. And so I look at the person that I've signed on the ticket with. I'm looking at the content of his character, and that is Bill Surrey. And so I think I also want to give credit to Commissioner Lafayette. He's, you know, he's served there 16 years. He's had a lot of successes while being the leader of the party. He took on the party, I think, when nobody else wanted the job. Now we have a lot more engagement, and especially within the last 4 years. But I certainly want to give him credit for leading us over the last 16 years. And we've had judges on the, we've, you know, put Black judges on the bench. We put, you know, Latino judges. So there's a lot of successes under Chair Lafayette. And it's, you know, it's always, you can always point the finger. Since I'm an elected official, you always can point the finger at someone who's served or is currently serving. But I do want to acknowledge the work and the good that he has done. And so therefore, it is just time to move forward to, you know, there's like I said, a whole movement out there for us to sort of bring about some new and improved methods of doing running the committee. And so that's why I'm a part of this, have joined on to be a part of the candidate to be elected to help move us forward.
I wish you luck. I wish you well in the election in a couple of days. And win or lose, win, you'll be part of the county party. I hope that you utilize us as the major African-American media in the area and in the county. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
To get your issues out. But even in losing, you're the head of the party in your municipality. I hope that you utilize us to get the word out, to get the message out, to get to, you know, any issues that need to be addressed. You utilize us from this point forward.
I definitely will. And if you have any issues whatsoever, I'm always available. Don't ever hesitate to call me. Being a person who's already an elected official, I'm used to getting a lot of calls and people asking about different things and wanting to. Yeah.
Be careful though, because I'll burn your phone up. I'll be calling. But yes, wish you well, and thank you for taking the time for coming here and participating today.
Thank you so much for having me, and it was really exciting meeting you all.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good luck with everything.
Good night. Good
Thank
luck.
you. Good night.